King Kong has come to Call of Duty, but not in the way you might think. For 80 USD, gamers can get a glove for the character that's modeled after King Kong's cybernetic hand from the newest Godzilla movie.
Maybe it's a cool item, right? Maybe it causes ragdoll physics and has some cool effects when you punch someone. I mean, it's $80, so it has to have something cool, right?
Disappointed!
Of course not, this is Call of Duty. The glove does have a cool inspection animation though, so that's it. For 80 bucks, you get an animation that makes it easier to kill you. Good job. Anyway, before we begin this week's episode, we have a quick announcement. If you follow us on Twitter and look at the community tab here on YouTube, you'll notice that we post these Necro notes occasionally. Sometimes we get a news story that doesn't really make it into the episode for Necro News, and we'll throw these notes up on our community page or on our Twitter feed. However, with our increasingly busy schedule, Necro Notes has kind of taken a back seat.
So with a bit of necromancer magic, I've conjured up a little help for us. Meet Spectre.
Spectre will be posting notes every week, so if you want to stay up to date on news that we don't cover in Necro News, like this one, follow us over on Twitter.
Moving on, this week we'll be covering the Pokemon Thief, the surprising Prince of Persia game, Ubisoft continuing to be evil, and much more. So subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep up to date. If you do already follow us on Twitter or look at the community tab, you'll have already seen that Spectre actually covered the story. Anyway, this week, a 36-year-old man was arrested for selling illegally modified Pokemon for Pokemon Violet on a site made for selling game assets and items. Funnily enough, he wasn't reported by the website admins. That'd be a very simple and straightforward story. He was actually caught by the cyber police.
Consequences will never be the same!
During a cyber police patrol, evidence of his nefarious deed was found when he was caught taking custom orders for rare Pokemon. This led to an ongoing investigation that has so far uncovered 6 months of orders, which could have resulted in well over millions of illegal profit to him.
Technically, selling hacked Pokemon is against Japan's 2019 Unfair Competition Prevention Act, so because of this, he could be fined up to 5 million yen, or face up to 5 years in prison, or both. At the end of the day though, he was just trying to provide for his family, so what do you guys think of the story? This week was the III Showcase. Some of the announcements made during the showcase was pretty great. Slay the Spire 2, the Contra DLC for Vampire Survivors, Castlevania update for V Rising, and a lot more.
However, near the end of the showcase, Dead Cell developer, Evil Empire, took everyone by surprise by announcing they were making a new 2D Prince of Persia game, but this time as a roguelite.
According to the developers, the game will have a wide assortment of skills, abilities, and weapons. And the game will be developed over time with additions based on community feedback, which is essentially how they handled Dead Cells.
I am hoping this means Prince of Persia will be coming back, especially with what they're doing with that remake. But, I don't know, do you guys think you'll play it? Do you think you'll play it?
Yeah, probably.
What about the original 3 that I have on the PS3?
Nah.
But it's literally a hot guy simulator.
It's also on the PS3, so I don't care anymore.
You're not about to tell me graphics from the PS3 are bad, are you?
No, I just don't care about trying to go back to a backlog that long ago.
Oh, lady. Speaking of Ubisoft games, let's continue the tale of the Crew. But let's do a quick recap. Back in episode 75 of Necro News, we spoke about the team of gamers who were scorned against Ubisoft as they were taking the servers for the Crew offline, resulting in 12 million people unable to play the game they bought.
The goal of the team was to unlock and activate the single-player game mode that was already in the game, just hidden behind a switch that Ubisoft had toggled for whatever reason, preventing anyone who bought the game from playing it when the servers go offline.
It was for money. Absolutely.
Probably. Anyway, last week we reported that Ross from Ross's Game Dungeon set out to make StopKillingGames.com, a companion website dedicated to preventing companies from, killing games.
It's time for some mountain justice! You are out of control, Corvette! And you're in my way!
The focus of the campaign is currently on the Crew, with the site being tailor-made so that owners of the game can assist with reporting the unethical practice to their local government, hoping to result in legal action. Let me tell ya, for a gaming company, they seem to hate gamers.
This week, Ubisoft started revoking licenses for the Crew. There's a lot of speculation and anger as to why they are doing this, but as some have pointed out, the main motivation for this move is probably money. If the game is allowed to be offline and single player, then people can mod it. And if people can mod it, then people are less inclined to buy the new games.
However, in a surprising development, the Pirate Party, yes, that's their actual name, has appealed to the EU Commission to verify if Ubisoft simply switching off their game is even legal.
The Pirate Party's MEP, Patrick Pryor, says the shutdown of the Crew 1 by Ubisoft is an alarming example of how the interests of players are being ignored. It is unacceptable and probably illegal for companies to first sell popular games for a profit and then shut them down after a short period of time.
Patrick the Pirate calls for opportunities for communities to be able to adopt orphan games and further develop them for community or single-player play. Our final story is a little weird non-story, but seeing as Booster was a rabid Dead Space fan, I thought it'd be a good idea to include it. So let's give some background first. Last year, the Dead Space Remake was released, and it did pretty well, so people assumed Dead Space 2 would be getting a remake as well.
But that doesn't seem to be happening now, as this week it was announced that the leads at Motive, the company responsible for the Dead Space remake, will be working on Battlefield.
I wish for the day to come when this pain ends.
And the other half of Motive is working on that Iron Man game.
Jeff Grubb stated in Giant Bomb's podcast that they were planning and working on a Dead Space 2 remake, but it was cancelled due to poor sales of the first game. Which is weird because from what we can tell, the first game did pretty well.
However, in response, an EA spokesperson told IGN, "We don't normally comment on rumors, but there's no validity to the story." The tricky part, however, is that they were very vague about what they were referring to. As Jeff went on to state in a tweet, Dead Space 2 was definitely being planned. It had a codename, and they aren't making it now.
But what do you guys think about this? Were you hoping for a Dead Space 2 remake? Does this news come as a surprise to anyone? Let us know in the comments below.
I'm actually pretty upset about it because there was a point in time where I was so engrossed and obsessed with Dead Space that I learned Unitology, the Unitology language, all of it.
Isn't that basically just Scientology? Did you become a Scientologist when I wasn't looking?
Yeah, no, dude, I even saw the Spirit Boeing 747 being piloted by Xeno as he threw the souls into the massive volcano. This week's Buried Alive Banger, a segment where we cover a game that our community doesn't think has had enough attention, is called Spirit City.
Spirit City describes itself as a gamified concentration tool. It allows you to customize your own living space while searching for spirits, and the game has a ton of features that can improve concentration and focus, and as a bonus, it's completely stream-friendly so you can listen to nice lo-fi beats while chatting. It's a pretty cheap game for just $12, so if you need something comfy or need help keeping yourself on track, check it out.
Here are the games coming out this week. Oh look, it's the Crew Motorfest.
Don't buy it. And here's our schedule for this week. Booster and I will be doing a drive and chill stream on Twitch and finishing up World's End Club.
And that's it for this week's Necro News. If you like what we do here and want to keep up to date, subscribe to the channel.
And if you made it this far into the video, be sure to put a car emoji in the comments to support our crew members.
And as always, a very special thank you to our coffee and channel members. Without you guys, we just wouldn't be able to do what we do.
And if you are a member, you'll be getting updates on my new Live 2D model. I did post the first sketch up on the YouTube community tab if you want to take a look. And if you want to help us fund that, you can donate to us on Ko-fi.
That's all we got this week. So until next time, everyone, goodbye.
Bye.